Hey, thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to talk about there is no command to eat nothing unclean. In the Torah, we have commands that tell us we may eat certain things or that we may not eat certain things. For example, we are commanded to not eat animals which are unclean. So we are forbidden to eat pigs, shellfish, and so forth. We are not allowed to eat them. And I want to make this point clear so that I am not misunderstood. We are forbidden from eating these animals, which are considered to be unclean species. However, that is not the only way the term unclean is used. And while this may seem odd and counterintuitive, there isn't a command that says we cannot eat unclean things in general. Consider these things which we are commanded to not eat. We are commanded to not eat blood and not eat things with the blood. We are commanded to not eat the fat, the tallow. We are also commanded to not eat animals that have been preyed upon by another animal. Nor are we allowed to eat animals that die. They have died without being slaughtered. And we also have commands like these regarding unclean animals, such as Leviticus 11:4. But this you shall not eat, from the ones causing to ascend the cud, and from the ones bisecting the hoof. And it goes on to describe certain unclean beasts. And we see at the beginning of this verse, this you shall not eat. And in Leviticus 11:10-11, and all which there is no fin and scale to it, detestable they shall be to you. From their flesh you shall not eat. So concerning that which lives in the water, we are told those that have no fin and scale, that from their flesh you shall not eat. We are not eating them. And in Leviticus 11:13, and these you shall detest from the flying animal. They shall not be eaten. We are not eating these flying animals that are listed here. And in Leviticus 11:41, and all of the swarming things, the ones swarming on the land, it is detestable. It shall not be eaten. So we are not eating all of these swarming things. And finally, in Deuteronomy 14:3, you shall not eat any abhorrence. And then it goes on to clarify different kinds of animals, just like we saw in Leviticus 11. We are given descriptions of these animals, and we are told to not eat them, and we are told to eat no abhorrent thing. But this does not include a generic command on uncleanness. So we have these commands telling us to not eat certain things. And we also have classifications on animals that are clean and unclean. But despite what we may have thought, there isn't a general command that says to eat nothing unclean. Issues of uncleanness are not isolated to an animal's type. While we are not to eat any of these animals which are also considered unclean, because we are forbidden from eating those types of animals, other things can become unclean in other ways and can become unfit to bring to the tabernacle. So, for example, we might see in the middle and the latter parts of Leviticus 11 that certain things can cause vessels and their contents to become unclean. Or we might see in reference to human uncleanness that a person can defile an object. These are the types of uncleanness I am referring to. However, this is a different issue. We have to be clear on these distinctions regarding uncleanness. Concerning someone who is eating outside of a sacrificial context, And outside of things that are being offered, there is no command that says, eat nothing unclean. There are commands about not eating from unclean animals and not eating other things, such as some of the examples we looked at. But there is not a command regarding generic uncleanness. Even though that may have made sense to be a command, we have to be careful about what the Torah says. We want to avoid adding to the law and taking away from the law, even unintentionally. As far as uncleanness is concerned, I have another video where I go into more detail and give an overview of the different kinds of uncleanness. So feel free to check that out if you haven't seen it yet. The link is in the description box. Thanks for watching, and remember the commands. Shalom.